Welcome to the Dastardly Dingoes podcast, a show that celebrates all things nerdy. You'll get an insider's look into the world of comic books, graphic novels, TV and film, gaming and pop culture, as well as the technologies that drive all of it. Now, are you ready to get nerdy?
Welcome to the Dastardly Dingoes podcast, the show about all things nerdy. We discuss nerd news, movies, TV shows, games, comics, and so much more. I'm Brian.
I have to get ready for this. I'm Chad.
little grandpa get up
Yep. Goes with my gray beard.
And brace yourselves, folks, because we're about to get nerdy. All right. Before we introduce today's guests, I want to give a huge shout out to the Rising Tide Broadcast Network, which we are now part of. Woo! Yes! Oh, it's a great place to be, guys. It's full of just encouragement. It is full of watches, drinking shows, comic book shows, just overall creative endeavors, and also Chad's wonderful Vanna White hand that it just looks so awkward moving up and down the screen.
Thank you.
No joke. We are so thankful to be a part of the Rising Tide Network, and thank you for joining us today. And speaking of which, today we have a very special guest because we are on the road, ladies and gentlemen, to the crossover of the Dastardly Dingoes and comic book spectrum.
Yes, we
so
are.
Without further ado, good sir, the Eric Hawkins, welcome.
Hey, well, who's the special guest? I thought I was the guest tonight.
Oh, well, we'll use the term special very
loosely.
So, yeah, exactly.
I get that a lot.
Yeah, well.
Works on multiple layers.
Well, hey, man, before we get started, I'm going to give you the big screen here and tell us who you are and why you're here and what you have to offer.
Sure. Well, I'm Eric S. Hawkins. I am an independent comic creator and the creator of the Zombieful World of Oz. I'm also an artist of Ghostly Tales of Spencer Spook, Celebration Comics #1, Ghostly Celebrity Ghost Hunters. That was the other one. And I did some work for Luke Stone as well in his collected bound book. So that's me in a nutshell. You know, I'm a writer, artist, and letterer, colorer, do all that stuff.
Awesome, man. Well, it's great to have you here.
Thanks.
It's weird to have you on a show that I'm hosting with Chad instead of us just being a part of an ensemble where we follow the Fez into the abyss.
That's a good way to put it. Blindly into the abyss.
Yes, the abyss that is comic book spectrum. Every Thursday night at 7 p.m. on the Rising Tide Network, everybody. It's going to be great. We're talking about, do you know what you're going to review this week, Chad?
Excuse me?
Or Chad, sorry.
Yeah, it's
Eric.
Chad, what are you reviewing?
That's
what?
weird.
I'm reviewing something?
Yeah,
all right,
you're
let me
reviewing
think.
stuff. No,
What
are you
let me
reviewing
find
this
one
week?
real quick.
I haven't looked yet. I mean, I can review your book again.
Oh, that was so nice. It made me tear up. You know,
Darn
Chad,
it.
good friend.
I looked for the full cry.
So sweet.
It was close. It was close. Chad's jealous. Look at him.
I am so jealous right now.
Yeah, his beard just keeps getting grayer.
I've been
because of the
jealous
jealousy.
ever since.
Just for Men works wonders.
No. This is Just for Men right here.
Yeah,
That's right. That's real men right here. Grow it out. Let it go.
I can't. It gets all spotty over here, you know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's jump into the comments a little bit. Oh, look who's here. Hello, BKM. Speaking of the Fez that leads us into the abyss. Hello, sir, and good old yes. Chad, are you aware of why? Are you aware of why we call Eric Pornsack?
I have no idea. Please tell me.
Eric, would you like to tell the story?
I believe it was a comic book review on a DC book. Happy Little Asian. What is the name of that book? Good Asian. The good Asian. Is it the Good Asian?
That sounds like some weird child's book.
Nice.
It's a very recent book, and it's something. I think it's the Good Asian. But you know, I didn't like the book. And I was going through the credits, and the guy's name who wrote it is named Pornsack. That's his actual name.
Nice.
So they started calling me Pornsack.
I like it.
It was wonderful.
It's not bad. I'll get it on a t-shirt. Confuse people.
Oh, Ryan has a great idea. He says we can review Chad's comic book, Attention Tower, one for the takeoff. Yes!
Thank you.
Wow.
Yes! Roasting from the comments, because
Right.
you know what that means? It means that we hate it because we threw it.
That's fine. I don't care. I'm not making it for you. You're kind.
Oh my
I
God.
mean,
I walked by a comic today against the wall, and I was like, how'd this get over here? Oh, that's the one I reviewed last week. I didn't review because it was so bad I just threw it.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, Eric, we
Yes.
need to do something very, very important right now.
Sure.
We need to make you an honorary,
Ooh.
Chad. Chad, there you go.
That's what I'm
An
doing.
honorary
Oh, wrong way.
dingo.
Do I
Yes.
bow?
Yes, you can if you want to. This is more important than being knighted by the queen, sir.
Just
Ooh.
keep doing that for the entire interview.
Just the whole Chad, keep it going, buddy.
Oh,
There you
sorry.
go. But your initiation is this. You have to list, since it is the spooky times, it is Halloween. You have to list the your top 5 favorite spooky or scary movies of all time.
Okay. I wasn't prepared for that. I was prepared for a top 5 movie list.
Yeah.
But I made a list.
Nice.
So I don't get to watch a lot of horror. The wife doesn't like horror movies, so that's why I read more horror than I get to watch. But I did at one time watch quite a few movies, and occasionally I'll watch one here hiding in my office. But I'm going to start out with this one. I've got this one scared me, and you guys are going to laugh, but it caused me not to be able to lay in my bed with my closet open for years.
Oh.
If the closet was open, I'd try sleep. I couldn't. I had to get out of bed and close the door real quick and get in bed. Gremlins.
Dude, me too. Me too. Okay, so my mom thought it would be a great idea for me to watch Gremlins when I was 6 years old. Nay. That was not a good idea. I was terrified for like 3 weeks because when you're 6, those gremlins aren't much shorter than you.
Right, yeah.
And
they're
how old
creepy.
Yeah,
They're jumping out of everywhere.
How old were you when that came out?
They come out in 84.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to be 13? 13 years old and terrified of gremlins. And monsters jumping out of my closet, yes.
That's impressive.
That's
That's
impressive.
impressive.
Yeah,
Although
depressing.
I was scared by stuff like that all the way up till about that age. Around 13, 14, I really started getting a fascination with like monsters and Universal stuff. And that's when I started watching a lot more horror movies.
Gotcha.
I watched horror movies before that, but I shouldn't have, because I watched the original Halloween when I was 9.
Ooh.
And that scarred me. I'm still terrified of Michael Myers, but I can't wait because the new one's coming out this week.
Is it this week? Okay, cool.
It is this Friday. Yeah, it's going to be in theaters and on Peacock as well.
Ooh.
So yeah, I'm gonna sit my high risk self down in the bedroom and watch it here. I wish I could watch it in theaters, but okay, cool. So Gremlins is number 1. Where you got after that?
This one, you guys might not have heard of this one. I was on a podcast for issue 2. There's this, I wish I could remember. I can't remember the podcast, but they've had me issue 1 and 2 to interview me. Then they also do other stuff. It's a horror podcast. So they also reviewed a movie, and they asked me if I'd watch it and review it with them. So I did. It was called Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Verner.
Yes. I love that movie.
I thought it was great.
Yes.
I thought it was great. These people doing a documentary on this horror style slasher killer, then he ends up trying to kill them too. It was really cool.
And it's a lot of fun because it shows like the behind the scenes. Chad, you would probably like it. It shows the behind. Chad's not a horror fan.
No, I'm like your wife.
Yeah.
Smart woman.
But it shows behind the scenes of like all the, like how fit one of the killers has to be.
Yeah, you have to do cardio and stuff.
To like run so fast ahead of the other people to make it appear that you're just walking. It's really fun.
I thought it was a good movie.
fun fact: our friend Nathan Thomas Milner, who's been on the show, actually did the comic book sequel to that movie.
There's a comic book sequel?
There is. I
Ooh.
don't know if you can still get it. I don't know. It might still be on in demand on Indiegogo.
Well, I'm gonna write that down.
But yeah. Nate did it, and I have it sold out really fast when they did their first printing. I only have issues, I think 2 and 3 because I couldn't get.
Well, I hadn't even heard of the movie, and they asked me to review it, and I was like, yeah, sure, that'd be fun.
Yeah. All right.
So we got that one. We got Gremlins, and I got to say this one creeped me out. It's not an old movie. It's past 10 years. Don't Be Afraid of the Dark with Katie Holmes.
You know, I've never seen that one.
With these little
tooth
fairies that are creepy and eat the teeth. It creeped me out.
Is that done by Guillermo del Toro? Did he produce it? I think
he might have produced it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
but
Usually, I stay away from his produced movies because they're usually not nearly as good as his directed movies.
No, and this wasn't a great movie by any means, but as a movie that made me feel uncomfortable. Yes, because of them eating the teeth and.
Do you not like The Dentist either?
No, I don't mind The Dentist. It was just eye stuff, teeth stuff, breaking stuff. If you guys have watched The Many Saints of Newark,
I haven't watched it yet. No,
okay,
but I will be.
Never mind. I won't read it.
I'm pretty much.
I'll say teeth compact drill. That's all I'm saying.
Ooh, Chad.
I pretty much just tapped out of this conversation.
Well, Chad,
I'm not seeing any of these. You know what? Here's my only contribution, and then we'll get back to Eric's list. The only thing I would add to this list is Lost Highway. Does that count? Have you seen that?
No one knows.
You've not seen Lost Highway?
No.
Sounds familiar.
See, nobody knows, Chad. Is it Canadian?
No, it's
Is Rutger Hauer in that?
No, he's the guy that directed Twin Peaks. David Lynch. It's a David Lynch movie.
I have not seen that.
Oh, I've not seen it. No.
Oh, it's creepy.
I will even put that on my list.
You need to watch that one. It's creepy, but it works on multiple layers, and you walk away from it being like, "What just happened?" Wow.
Did you watch Twin Peaks, Chad?
No, I haven't seen that.
Dang it! I thought we were this close. I was like, "Oh yeah, we got nothing."
No.
I haven't seen it either.
Anyways, go back to your list. That was my contribution.
Okay.
Just wake me up when you guys are done. The whole thing about all the scary movies.
Yeah, just stare at your artwork behind you. There you go.
Here I will say about Gremlins. The only thing about Gremlins is I had a secret crush on the girlfriend in that movie.
Phoebe.
Oh
She was
yeah,
pretty hot. Yeah, I
but she
really
looked
liked
better in Fast Times.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
it.
Chad doesn't get out much.
I just watch new sci-fi movies. That's all I got. Sorry. All right, keep going.
Are you going to watch Dune, Chad?
Absolutely. I'm going to the theater for that one.
All right.
I can't wait.
All right, Eric, continue before Chad rudely interrupts you.
I do believe this. This is the remake, and I'm pretty sure it's a remake. I might have the name wrong, but it was it had Famke Janssen in it. It was House on Haunted Hill.
Yeah, that was a good remake.
Yeah,
I prefer the original, but yeah.
Yeah, I never saw the original. I did see the remake, and it was another movie that was disturbing to me. Certain scenes, especially with this a mental institution doctor and experimenting on people and stuff.
Yeah,
and the ghosts and there's some weird imagery that's kind of stuck with me.
Oh yeah, the movie that is similar to that I actually prefer over the remake of House on Haunted Hill is 13 Ghosts.
I've seen bits and pieces of that one, but not the whole one.
I think it's because the monster designs of the ghosts in that movie are really creepy and super imaginative. The premise of that movie is the house changes every hour. It completely rearranges itself, and it unlocks a new ghost, and you have to survive it by the end of the night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's pretty
so it's a similar idea. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Nice.
Matthew Lillard's in it.
Oh, I definitely want to see it now.
Yeah.
Look
all right. So what is that 4 or is that 5?
That's 4, and
right.
I got 2 more listed, but I'm not sure which to list.
Well, you can list
them both.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll do both at the same time, and they're for 2 totally different reasons. Scream, the original one,
Yes.
and Insidious.
Oh, another good one.
Yeah. Now, Scream brought me into liking horror movies again in the 90s when they the resurgence of the slasher film. So that and Insidious would just once again, it's the creepy ones that they're disturbing to you and make you feel uncomfortable. That whole scene with the tiptoe through the tulips.
Yeah.
I cannot listen to that song anymore without thinking of that movie.
You know, I actually, that was the one scene in the movie that I thought was funny.
Yeah,
I
it was creepy. But then when you see Tiny Tim actually sing the song,
he's creepier than that movie. Yeah, he's creepier than that movie could ever be. Have you ever heard him sing a normal song?
No, I have not.
It's weird because he has a beautiful voice.
Really?
He has a really good voice, but you know, otherwise he's going, oh, I'm like, no, yeah, I can't handle that. Chad, you know what we're talking about?
I can't handle your singing, your reenactment.
Oh man! Oh, here we go. We got Ted Davies in the house.
Hello,
hey, Ted, how you doing, man?
And Brian saying hi to Ted.
And Brian saying hi. Hello, Ted. So, all right. Well, now that you're an honorary dingo, tell us your story, Eric. How you've been creating comics for a while. How'd you get into that?
No, not really.
No, really. Longer than I have.
When'd you start?
2015.
About the same time.
Oh, look at us.
Well,
comic book twins.
Well, you know, after getting rejection letters in my early 30s from Marvel, I didn't draw I didn't draw a lot for probably a good decade. I just kind of laid off and just focused on family and kids and job and all that.
So when was that? About like time frame? When did you start?
Oh wow!
Like take us back. When did you really like start getting into like I wanna do comics?
Around Onslaught, the X-Men Onslaught series. That's when I really wanted to get serious about it. I was like, I'm going to do my own comic. I'm going to do something. I love that
you base your time on a comic book series and not a year.
You know why? Because my first submission I sent to Marvel was based on Onslaught, where before they even revealed as Xavier, I kind of figured it out. So I had Onslaught with the helmet off as Xavier.
Oh, yeah.
And man, they ripped me apart. And you know, when I look at those pages, which are now in the trash, last time I looked at them, they were right. They were horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, well, even a little before that, I thought it'd be fun to work for Marvel. And I didn't think I could do it. And then, you know, and especially being like a lot of artists, you know, we're kind of shy and don't like to talk to people. We're introverts. But, you know, I met Jim Lee probably a year or two before that here in St. Louis. And he liked the art. He was doing the Deathmate tour for Image and Valiant. So there's a bunch of artists going around and around. So he had stopped at St. Louis with Mark Silvestri and Scott Campbell and them. And he liked it. He said, I just need to work on my sequentials. You know, sequentials. But the pinup work was great. So, yeah, I started doing that. And then Marvel didn't like it. And I kind of backed off for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So from that point on, you took about 10 years off.
10 years off drawing regularly. Then I started getting a little back into it. And I started designing some characters and a story I wanted to do. And it was just, you know, drawing traditionally is a lot of work. It's a ton of work.
It is. It absolutely is. Chad,
and expensive. And expensive. Fell on the board and the ink. And but I had I still haven't produced this comic yet. I do have a comic, which I probably missed the market on it. It's like a vigilante story and you know, guns and stuff like that. But I got about 12 issues in my head of that, and about half of them written down. But I designed all the characters and stuff, but I never moved into it. So then come to 2014. Well, 2010, lost my job I'd had for 20 years. Couldn't find a job for a year and a half, which I should have drew that entire time, but I didn't. People feared me on Call of Duty, though.
Nice.
So comes 2014. The company let me go, asked me if I'd like to come back. I'm like, let's see. Right now I'm driving a forklift 12 hours a day from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. Yeah, I'll come back for a Monday through Friday job. I will do it. So I came back, and I had free time. I had evenings and weekends again that I hadn't had for about 2 years at that point. And I thought, okay, I need to start working on comic books again. I need to just start drawing.
Mhm.
I went out to digital webbing, and I actually found Brian K. Morris.
Really?
Well, I found a friend of ours who put me with Brian K. Morris as he was going to write a story, and he was looking for an artist.
Yeah.
So that's where Celebration Comics 1 came from. So I did a 10-page story in that, which was a charity comic for a Superman celebration in Metropolis. The proceeds would be donated to rebuild the Massac Theater down there. So that's how I met Brian.
So tell me, because I know he's famously hard on himself as being difficult, to work with other people sometimes. So when or that he's hard on people as an editor, as that kind of thing. How was it working with Brian the first go round?
The first go round was easy. It was so easy.
Nice.
He liked
See,
what
Brian,
I was
you're good. Stop it.
He liked what I was turning around, and I was turning it around quickly. And it was all traditional too at that point. I hadn't made the step to digital, other than I would color stuff digital, but I wasn't doing that with this shit. So it was all black and white art, all traditionally done. I'm tearing through nibs on my pens, drawing the border lines. Like I draw a border, my nibs ruined.
Oh wow, man!
So I didn't, I didn't know all what I should do there and all that stuff. So I just so worked really well. And Brian and I thought we'd like to work again.
Mm-hmm.
So at that time, since I got my teeth into the storytelling aspect of reading his script and how to put a script together, I started working on Oz.
Mm-hmm.
Now I showed him a couple pages really early. And then we did the Ghostly Tales of Spencer Spook, like 2 years after that, I believe, or a year and a half after that, I guess. Well, it came out about a year and a half, 2 years after that, which was all drawn.
Did you say that was a little more difficult for you to draw because it was more cartoony?
Because it was so cartoony, it was very difficult for me to draw. I thought it'd be easy. I was like, yeah, shoot. Something like Casper? Yeah, I could do that. It's easy. I found it more difficult because it was cartoony. Yeah. Yeah. And that was all drawn traditionally as well, except for, a couple panels I had to edit digitally because he did want some changes in that one. Not many, though, but that's when he realized I don't like to draw backgrounds. But yeah, if you're working off a Brian K. Morris script, after you put the lettering in there, there's no room for a background. You just wasted all. You drew all this stuff. It's just covered with word balloons. It's like, well, no kidding. I don't like to draw backgrounds. No one's going to see them.
Oh man.
So after that, that's when. So that's a year after that. I put out or did the Kickstarter for Zombieful World of Oz #1.
All right, Chad. I'm asking all the questions. Do you have any?
You are. You're taking. You're
taking
taking the helm, and I'm just over here.
You're just the eye candy. Look at you. Sorry, guys. That's all we got.
Well, I'd say out of the three of us, he does look like he's in better shape than the other two.
Oh, for sure. For sure. That is, I don't know. I think both of you guys are fine. I'm way back. I'm the caboose in this situation. So
I'm over 200.
I'm definitely over 200. I was
by about 30 pounds or so. Yeah.
Oh,
I was up around 260. I've dropped down some.
Yeah.
I've got you beat by
kind of
quite
the
a
same
bit.
range. Yeah. You and I.
Yeah. See,
and I'm 3 foot, and I'm 3 foot 2, so it doesn't help.
How tall are you, Eric? I'm not actually
5'10".
Okay.
Yeah. Now in high school I was 5'11", but I apparently shrunk, or I just lied about my height. I'm not sure which it was.
Well, yeah.
I always thought I was 5'11", but no, I'm 5'10".
Yeah, Chad, what are you? 6'2"?
6'2", yeah.
Yeah, me too. So there we go.
Wow.
There it is.
Yeah.
Among giants.
Indeed. Yes.
So Eric, the thing I was thinking about as you were talking about that process was how difficult it was to draw in a more cartoon-like style. So what did you do to adjust to that?
Well, when you're drawing more realistic style, which I tend to do, I'm kind of got the West Coast image. I'm not that good, but I do have that style. It's more realistic look to characters. And you're trying to draw the body structure, the muscles, and the bones, and get everything formed just right. So I had to simplify it really down to just drawing a few shapes and just connecting the dots after that.
Yeah.
I mean, and just unlearning the lot of stuff I had learned about anatomy and stuff, because the main character is a ghost who doesn't have feet sometimes he does have feet, and they're big, and he's got a nose like this, and a Jimmy Durante style face with a little hat. Basically it turned into Spencer Spook's head was one circle, another circle which did the cheeks, and then one for the nose. Then I had the shape down. I could rotate it any way I wanted in my head, and I could get it down. But it was reducing the amount of time I was trying to put into the character. I was trying to be too detailed with a cartoon.
Yeah, it's interesting how you're describing that, because when you look at whether it's Disney or that level of more cartoon style, you'd think it'd be easy because it is broken down into simpler shapes. You're not as much detail and that kind of thing. There's a couple artists I think of, like there's this girl named Loish that I follow on social media. She does a lot of that kind of stuff. Kaylin Smith. There's a lot of artists that do that kind of style, and you look at it and you think, man, you'd think it'd be easy, but it's like anything else. Like if you're really good at it, like it really is difficult to pull off well for you to look at it and not be distracting. Like you could draw a cartoon and it can look elementary, or like someone that hasn't drawn a whole lot, but the person that's really put a lot of years in, their style of cartoon looks very, very different. And one thing, I'm not going to say this because he's just sitting here, but I will say anyways, Brian, for example, if you look at his artwork, like from his first issue to the issue he's working on now, there's a drastic difference in the quality and just the level that he's grown in doing that, because his artwork is very much like that. Like it's not cartoony, but it's got that kind of style, like I know we always say it, you're welcome, Mike Mignola's type style, but it is very difficult to do well. And so it was interesting to hear you say that, because I'm the same way. I draw very realistic, and it's so funny. I was actually thinking about it today. I was like, I've got to figure out a way to draw faster because I just take too long. But then at the same time, like I think there's a value to all the detail, but to do that well, is really difficult. So
yeah. Well, faster for me was transitioning to digital.
Yeah.
I do all my thumbnails, everything digitally now.
Yeah.
If I can, especially since everything that's happened in the last year and a half. I'm working from home 4 days a week. I only go in the office on Fridays. Then I'd always have a backpack with me when I was going in every day of the week. And my lunch, I would sit and do my thumbnails on little pieces of paper, bring them home. I'd sit and transfer them to the computer. But now I just do everything on the computer because I'm home all the time.
Yeah.
But I don't do that during the day when I'm working my day job over at this computer over here. It's after I clock out and pivot and roll over here.
Yes. It's so funny because like when I did the same thing, because I'm able to go into the tech shop now. But last year, before I was vaccinated and all that, I was doing something very similar. I would take my setup and I would actually go in the other room. And it's same laptops. I had 2 laptops that I would be working from. And then I'd bring those back in here when I clocked out of the day job. So that way, mentally in here, this was the studio space. And this meant creating, out there meant day job.
Yeah. When we first came home and started working, I told my boss, well, we had the option the first couple weeks. I said, no, I'm going to stay coming in the office because, I will draw if I'm at home.
Yeah.
Then sure enough, they sent us all home anyway. And I was disciplined enough not to draw during work hours. I mean, I'd want to, but no, I didn't. So I do my day job, and I've made sure, first my computer was here. I had like a little L shape, then I've just moved them opposite each other.
Yeah. So
Eric,
go ahead.
It's my turn, Brian. My turn.
Actually, hold on. It's their turn. We got to jump in here really quick and say hi to some folks. Jody, how you doing, buddy? Says evening all. And hello. Damien.
Hello.
And everyone's saying hi to each other. Everyone's saying hi. Yes. Oh, here we go. BK Morris. I was in the bathroom reading the last book. Oh my gosh. Reading the last book you'll ever read. And I came out to hear I'm wordy in my scripts. Wordy, me, talk too much. I never talk too much. Quiet as a mouse. Quiet as a mouse, I say.
As he runs out of room in the comments.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
All right, Chad, go ahead with your question.
Thank you. So, for the people that don't know you, what do you do during the day? What's your day job?
I work on a computer and type. No, for 20 years I was in procurement with an appliance parts company. Procurement, warehouse work, but most of it was in procurement, managing the procurement department. Then they gave me my own distribution center, and I ran that for 2 years before I got let go from the job because they were reducing staff and stuff. Then they asked me to come back into purchasing, so I came back to procurement, and currently I'm in the account receivables department. I manage a lot of our national accounts.
And is there a conflict for you? Like, would you rather be doing art full time, or is it something where, I mean, I guess that's a dumb question. I think most artists would say, yeah, I'd love to be getting paid to do the thing I love the most.
Exactly. It's the money.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I could make as much as I do at the job, have it, health insurance, benefits, all that, yes, I would draw full time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, going back to Spencer Spook, I know you said it was difficult. Did you have any, I guess, artists that you look to for reference or inspiration to kind of spearhead your cartoon style, or are you just like, I don't know, and just
we had the
moved
original comics to look at.
Yeah. Oh,
So
that's right.
I
forgot that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I tried to keep it close to that as much as I could, simplifying it for me, because comics in what that come on the 40s,
A long time ago. Yeah.
something like that. Some of that material you don't want to show today.
Yeah.
So I tried to stay true to the character, even though he did change quite a bit through different issues. So I just tried to take those. I think there was like 3 different designs and just merge them into one that kind of synchronized all of them together.
Yeah.
That was about it. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, you've mentioned it already, so let's jump in. So you have a great series. I've read all the issues. Yes, it's fantastic, folks. If you haven't read Zombieful World of Oz, is it still up on Indiegogo?
It is. I need to take it down.
Yes. No, you don't. Go to Indiegogo, and it's still on demand on Indiegogo. But yeah, I read the first 3 issues that are out, and it's spectacular. What got you on that track on Wizard of Oz and zombies? Tell us what brought you.
Well, go to Indiegogo, buy it, and you'll get the ash can, and it tells all that.
Well done.
Really? Okay, so I wanted to start working on my own comic book, and I've always liked the Wizard of Oz, and I had just recently been watching The Walking Dead. At first, because when I heard the Walking Dead comic coming out, I was like, "That's stupid."
Little did you know,
this zombie crap is never going away.
Yeah.
Here it is again, more zombie crap. So of course I didn't pick that one up at the comic shop. My fault. But then when the TV show came out, I didn't watch it either until the 2nd season. When my brother had gone to Walmart, picked up the 1st season for like $4 on DVD because it was a short season. And he brought it over one night, and we're like, okay, I'll watch it. Oh, this is really good. Oh, this is really good. So I said, well, maybe I do like zombies.
Yeah.
So I wanted to merge them with the Wizard of Oz because I like the Wizard of Oz. Mm-hmm. And right about that same time, when I started designing characters and stuff that merged them, I had seen a Panic at the Disco video. Right Sins, Not Tragedies, I believe it was. And there was kind of like a steampunky carnival theme to that.
Yeah.
And that's where because one of the thoughts was doing a freak show comic as well after seeing that.
Okay.
Because of the circus theme like stuff.
Yeah.
But the steampunky and all that stuff kind of merged together with the Oz and the zombies, and that's where it came from. And a lot of reading of what is actually in public domain and what is not with the Wizard of Oz.
Right. So walk us through that just a little bit, because there's a lot of differences between the books and things that are in the public domain with Wizard of Oz and like the movie stuff and all that.
Anything related to the movie is still owned by MGM. It's on public domain at all. So in the book, it's silver slippers. In the movie, it's ruby slippers because they were colorful in a color movie back in whenever. I didn't know that. My first designs have Dorothy in red boots.
Yeah.
And I was like, I guess it's gonna be easy. Then that's when I started researching everything. So everything that Baum wrote personally is in the public domain. A couple of the books after him, but most everything after him is not. So some of the characters that people might know of, but you really have to be heavy into the Wizard of Oz to know some of those characters anyway. So everything Baum wrote.
Did you read a lot of the early books when you were a kid?
I read The Wizard of Oz and, of course, watched the movie. In my youth, it came on every Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Right around that time of the year. It just came on every year. So we always sat down as a family and watched it. It wasn't until later when I started wanting to do the comic books that I start listening to the books while I worked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's easier than reading them. I can do it quicker.
Oh, hey, man. Yeah. I hit up those audiobooks all the time. Yeah. I mean,
I didn't think I'd like it, but I loved it. As long as the voice is good and acting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If it's monotone.
You get a bad one, it's like, oh.
Yeah, man, I can't handle that. But like, I feel like I retain a lot more listening than I do reading.
Yeah.
And I can work at the same time. I love listening to an audiobook and drawing. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I love it too.
I don't read.
Don't or can't?
Chad's like, I just draw pictures.
Wait, is that because books down here are not in Canadian? For
Yeah,
I see where we're going with this.
Yeah. Well, right. I could do that because I'm almost Canadian.
All right.
I was born in Detroit, right across the river, so
that doesn't count.
Chad's like, we don't claim you.
No.
But I like Tim Hortons.
There you
doesn't
go.
Count. Sorry.
Chad, how long did you live in Canada?
Not very long, just till like second grade. So
yeah.
I feel I'm more American than Canadian, really.
It's like I am with Detroit. I was born up there, but we moved away when I was like 2.
Yeah.
And I've been here in Louisville my whole life.
Wah, wah.
Wah, wah. Well, you're here with me, so I don't want to hear it.
That is true. My wife's from here, so I'm pretty much from here as a result.
Oh, cool.
So,
go ahead, Chad.
Go ahead with what?
You
guys had
looked like
conversation.
You looked like you were going to say something, so I was.
I was not. I was listening in on what you all were saying.
You just have that face.
I have that.
Well, here's something to mention. I had not seen the movie Return to Oz after I wrote the first issue.
Oh gosh, that movie scarred me when I was a child.
But it has a very similar theme.
Mm-hmm.
Dorothy is in a mental hospital, and I did not know that until people said, "Oh," so I'm like, "No, I heard it was really bad, so I never watched it."
Yeah. Really? Because I thought that was where you got that from.
No.
Huh?
Not at all. I wish it was.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I'm just that demented.
So,
well, no, I mean, I think it makes sense, right? Like creatively, she came out of Oz. She's, wakes up and she's like, and you were there, and you were there, and you were there. And I mean, eventually enough of that, somebody's going to stick you in the hospital. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. But in the book, she returns multiple times, and not all the books. She's not in all the books, but eventually she does bring Auntie Em and Uncle Henry to live there in Oz with the chicken and the dog. Yeah. Actually, Toto can speak, but he never does through most of the books towards the last few. Because all the creatures in Oz can speak, even though they're from Kansas and go over there.
Yeah.
So I don't want to make him talk in my comic, but I might.
I was going to ask.
I keep going back.
Yeah.
So, as the artist and writer, what's your process for creating? Do you write first and then draw, or do you draw first and then write?
Well, for issue 4, it's been a mixture. I had like 10 pages pretty laid out and worked on pretty heavily before I even started scripting the book. Mainly because I had the images in my head of what I wanted these scenes to be. Yep. But typically I start out with I get how I want to start, what's going to happen in this, and then I lay that out into about 10 to 12 scenes. Then I write down what each scene will be. Then usually I'll mix those up to I feel like they mix very well, and the story is cohesive and blends well. Then I'll start writing. I'll break them down to panels or pages first. So like this will be this many pages. This one. Let's see. No, I need more pages here. Let me adjust that and adjust that. Then I break it down into the panels, and I start writing the story and the script after that, or mostly the dialogue after that, because most of the script's really done by that point. After I've broken into panels, I know what's happening in each panel, so I drop in the dialogue.
So you do it more like the Marvel way, then?
Yeah. I guess it's more like that. Yeah.
Interesting.
This one's very much more like the Marvel way.
That's fascinating to me because I'm a writer first, so I write all the scripts out ahead of time before I even do any thumbnails, if I even do thumbnails at all.
Well, yeah, you've been showing pages, of the newest book, and with lettering on it, I'm like, what's going on here? I don't letter the book, so I'm completely done with everything.
Oh, I do a page at a time. The page is not completely done until the lettering's done. That way, it's ready to be final edits, and then we move on from there. That's just.
And that's my last thing, lettering. Yeah. The last thing.
I know a lot of people do that. It's just, I get stressed out if it's not completely done, and I move on. So I'm afraid I'll forget stuff.
I'm the same way as Eric. I just kind of I know where it's going. I do the art first, and then write, and then letter last.
Yeah, you get the hard part out of the way. You're like, okay, I can get the other part done anytime. Let's get on to the next stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So I run into the problem of I write too much, and then I have to figure it out. Otherwise. Chad, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, how many issues of the Zombieful World of Oz have you done, and how many are you going to do?
Well, that's a good thing. Good question, because it is hard to say. I have a hard time saying it too, and I wish I would come up with something similar. I'm working on issue 4 right now. And when I launch that campaign, issue 1, 2, and 3 will be put into a collected edition. Nice. And I'll plan to do at least 12. Okay. Right, at least 12. Awesome. There's other stuff I want to work on, and now it's become I really want to start working on some other stuff too. But I also want to keep working on Oz because I love telling the story of that. Yeah. But I also want to work on some more there's a couple superhero things I want to do. So and more fantasy based horror in the real world would like to do as well too. Nice.
So actually, sorry, Chad, I don't want to cut you off, but we actually have actually I do want to cut you off. We have a question. From Joe D says, have you done any other titles in your favorite genre yet?
The closest thing would be, even though I like horror, and I like the fantasy and the Oz and all that, I do like superheroes quite a bit, and that's probably, most of my collection is all superheroes. I've worked on a short story of Nature Boy with Brian K. Morris, and that was in a anthology book a couple of years ago. We're probably going to go back and finish that eventually someday when Brian has time and I have time. But I have a couple of superhero characters I'd like to do myself.
Very cool.
Nice. Yeah. I was going to ask you about the Zombieful World. You said the first 3 are going to be in its own volume. Are you going to do that for the whole thing? Like you'll have like 4 separate volumes of 3?
I think I'm going to. Initially, it was going to be 1, 2, and 3 do conclude a story arc, so that's why they're going in. And 4 was going to be a standalone story about how the Tin Man got his original heart back, which is still going to include that, but it won't be so standalone. So it's expanding every time I start drawing and writing. So it's going to lead into issue 5 as well, but not so much. It's going to lean heavily into the story of how he got his heart back, but there's going to be other parts of the lead into issue 5. So it's about 3 issue story arcs. Yeah.
Awesome. And how long? I know the books themselves seem to be getting more and more extensive when you release them. How long do you think issue 4 is going to be?
I'm worried now. It was going to be 40. I just added 2 pages, so I'm afraid. And I haven't gone back to adjust anything because I don't think I'm going to. It's going to be at least 40. I'm going to say it's going to round out about 48.
See, and this is why.
And then I'm right at the problem. Do I do staple or binding?
Yeah, because you're getting up there.
Right there. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I love indie comics, because literally as we're creating, we can make those decisions, and it's not a big deal. You don't have to ask anybody's permission. you might have to check your wallet to make sure you can afford it, or make sure you can adjust your goal for your crowdfunding. But yeah, I mean, I love that aspect of it.
I was finishing up the first scene to issue 4, and I was like, I really need these 2 pages right here. I need to tell this right here. I can't put it after the next scene because I feel it's more impactful right here. And there was only going to be 1 page, and it extended it to 2 pages, which had to adjust some other stuff. So that's why I added 2 pages there. It's gonna happen through the rest of the book. I'm going to cap it off at 48, definitely. I hope.
Yeah. Definitely, for sure.
It might be a 100-page graphic novel by the time I'm done.
There you go.
Well, what was it? John Romita Jr. was talking about working with Frank Miller on their Daredevil book they did together. And he said they originally had like 65 pages, and Frank called him up and was like, "Hey, I made an addendum. It's now 120 pages long." So it like went from this standard graphic novel size to an extended book. And he's like, "Oh, okay, that's great."
Yeah. Eric, how long does an issue take you to produce?
Well, I let it take a year, but if I work nonstop on it, in the evenings, I could probably have it done in 3 months. I do take my time. I do take on some side projects and stuff, and do some art for other people. So, but if I probably get 3 issues a year done if I just worked on that only.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Well, just to kind of change gears up here a little bit. I think you've mentioned a little bit, but go into who your biggest inspirations are in comics, just as far as artwork, but also writing and just storytelling in general.
Well, writing's got to be Frank Miller and Chris Claremont.
Why is that?
I was probably introduced to them at a more younger age and read their books the longest, and some of their stories are my favorite stories. Kraven's Last Hunt and Spider-Man is one of my favorite stories. They didn't write that, though.
I was going to say, I don't think that was either one of them.
I'm looking at the issue right over there.
Okay.
But Daredevil Born Again is one of my favorite stories as well, and Frank Miller did write that one. That's one of my favorites.
Gosh, that's so good.
Yeah. And I lost all my issues because I let a friend borrow them and he never returned them, and I haven't seen them since.
What's his name? I'll hunt him down.
He killed himself a few years back too. So
my condolences. Yeah, that's an awkward conversation.
Good going. It's been a long time.
I was gonna say you can't win them all, I guess.
So Chris Claremont and definitely who's that guy I don't like right now? What is his name?
Brian Rodman.
No. Brian knows what I'm talking about. I always throw his books, but what is his name? He writes the last book I'll ever read.
Okay, Brian K. Morris.
Tell us. Okay. Well, we'll go Brian K. Morris. Brian K. Morris is one of my inspired me more than anyone. But it's most of the classic comics, from the 80s and 90s when I was heavily into comics. Artist wise, it's the Image guys. I was following Jim Lee and Mark Silvestri early, long before they ever went to Image. Colin Bunn, yeah.
There it is. Thank you, Brian.
He writes like 50 books a month, and I've had a couple that started okay, but next thing you know, they're solid porn, and you gotta get away from them.
Yeah. Yes. By the way, I did actually look at the 3rd issue and was like, nope,
it's
not
porn through the whole thing.
It is.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, yeah, it is.
That's what they call a porn sack.
That's a porn sack. But definitely Jim Lee. I've met him. Mark Silvestri as well is one of my favorites.
Have you ever met Mark Silvestri?
Yes, he was looking over Jim Lee's shoulder at my artwork when Jim Lee was looking at it.
Oh, that's
he kept going.
Yeah,
I couldn't handle that.
No, I've not met Jim Lee, but I met Mark Silvestri.
He's huge.
He is a very tall man.
Yes,
he is much taller than me, and I felt weird because a lot of people aren't taller than I am. And but he's a really cool guy. Like I sat kind of like we were here, and then there was another aisle right here, and he was sitting right here. He was sitting next to Greg Capullo, who was right across from us, which was weird. But and he's cool too. But he's like the bro celebrity comic book guy. Like, he's not rude or anything, but like he has an entourage and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Mark Silvestri just shows up, cracks jokes, laughs with his people, and and
I can see that.
draws.
Yeah.
He's pretty cool dude.
Yeah. Rob Liefeld, of course.
Oh, Rob Liefeld's a big inspiration. For
Now,
you.
now,
A lot
actually,
of pockets and pouches.
Where his early stuff, when he was still with Marvel, I did like his stuff.
Yeah.
I felt it looked better then, and I really liked how he was doing stuff. And him and Mark Silvestri really made it easy to draw feet. You just draw a elongated triangle and you're done.
just black out the bottom and there you go. You're fine.
Now Rob's were mostly behind rocks, and Mark's were shaded a little bit in the cross hatching.
Yeah.
But a lot of the early Image guys.
Yeah, here we go, Eric. Brian accepts the honor of being your greatest inspiration.
Yeah, the guy I met on a website chat room. Digital webbing is still out there, but doesn't look to be as active as it used to be.
Yeah. Unfortunately, social media has really kind of killed a lot of that, like Tumblr and things like that. Not as many. Like, it's still out there, but not a lot of people go to it. Yeah,
but you could go to digital webbing and look for an artist or writer or a project and not be mocked like you are on Facebook for people. If you're any of the comic groups, when someone's looking for an artist, all they do is mock them left and right.
Yeah, that's sad. So as far as artists, it was kind of both, actually. The writers, a lot of your writers are artists as well.
Yeah, I was very heavy into the X-Men stuff when I was in high school and stuff afterwards for a long time. Even when I'm going to butcher the last name, Joe Maduria picked up X-Men after Lee and some other people had left.
Yeah.
His leaned more towards anime style, or manga style. Yeah. But I still liked it, and he became very slow. I even bought his Image book when he went to Image, which was Battle Chasers.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know Battle Chasers. Yeah. Cool. I got out of the my X-Men. Like, I got into Chris Claremont well after. I mean, because he ended. Yeah. I mean, he was done.
Well, you're like
91, 92. I'm 12. Get it right. No,
I almost said 12.
No, but my big introduction to the X-Men was the show that was mostly based on Jim Lee's designs and Chris Claremont's stories. Yeah. And so when I found out that, oh my gosh, this is a comic book series as well. I mean, all the soap opera goodness that Chris Claremont's X-Men was, I enjoyed it very, very much.
Yeah, I didn't pick it up when he apparently he came back at one point and started doing X-Men again, but I think I was out of it by then. Yeah. Well, when I lost my job in 2010, one of the things that wasn't essential was comic books. So and sadly, I was getting more comic books than I was reading every time I went to the comic shop. And I never cut stuff out of my list. I was just getting out of habit. And X-Men was sadly one of the books I stopped reading for a long time. And until really this year, I haven't bought comics on a regular basis since 2010.
I got to say, what got me, I mean, I've had a pull box at one of our shops here in Louisville for a few years now. But there weren't really a whole lot, and a lot of, like, half of them were like come out sporadically. So I didn't have a regular visit to the comic book store until we started doing Comic Book Spectrum. And that got me reading all the time, which I love. I'm so thankful because I had a stack of comics I had to work through as well. From the comic book store and Kickstarter, I had tons, still have tons.
Well, now I do have a box full of Kickstarter and Indiegogo books, which I've read almost every single one of them now.
Oh, nice.
Because I will say I back stuff and sometimes don't read it.
Oh, I've done that too. I mean, don't get me wrong. Joe D. McPhee from the Desk of Small Brush Publisher. Brian is 8 going on 12. Don't let his advancement.
Now, Joe might be surprised to hear that I do like superhero comic books.
Oh, I love superhero comics.
No, Joe might be surprised that.
No, I know. I think I love superhero comics. I feel like superhero comics. I feel like at this point in time, and we can talk about this, have been kind of just done.
Stale?
Everything it feels like and I know there is fresh tales to tell about with superheroes. I just feel like my biggest problem with DC and Marvel is it just seems like it's in this cycle that every story has been told.
I think
Maybe
they
not
don't
with
have-
the same characters,
Yeah, I
but
think they don't have creators as passionate about as passionate about the characters as the fans are, and people really just don't care. They just want to write whatever and have no passion for it. Looking for a quick payday, even though I hear they don't pay that well anymore.
yeah, which is sad because look at the history of the two companies. They really didn't pay all that great ever. Let's see. Jody McPhee says, Eric, we are brothers in Marvel. G.I. Joe will forever be good.
These are all G.I. Joes from the new, well, except Captain Carter here.
Oop,
All G.I. Joes from the new line of Marvel Classified series. They have a 6-inch series now.
Ooh.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
my friend Matt at work has started collecting them. He's got a couple of them. We have our setup in the tech shop is we have these shelves that line the entire room, and they literally this is how great our workplace is, or our company is. They gave us shelves just for our toys.
That's so awesome.
That would be so cool.
That is so
it's
cool.
like because they knew how big of nerds we are. Like you see all the stuff in here. My office office. It's just one big shop. But my desk area, the entire shop looks like this at work.
Nice.
Yeah. So we have a ton of fun. But yeah, my buddy Matt is starting to get the G.I. Joe and all the He-Man stuff as well. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like and I think that's why I tend to lean more into horror and fantasy and everything anyway. And in the indie scene right now, that is a plethora of those types of stories. And I feel like but now we're starting to see like different types of genres pop up more frequently now. They've kind of always been there, but now they're getting more popular in like biographies and things like that in comic book form.
Furries and yeah.
Right. Chad knows about that. You can ask him about that after the show.
I do.
But
Hey, I'll tell you a quick furry story.
Good.
It's safe. It's safe. I was at SalukiCon 2 years ago, and there were some furries wandering around. And I'm always I was like, oh, furries, those weirdos. I realized for the first time why they dress like that, why they hide their face. They can be comfortable being themselves with no one seeing them.
Yeah.
And being an introvert myself, I finally understood that. I wasn't so hard on them publicly after. But yeah, I finally understood it.
Yeah, for sure. Chad.
Yes.
You're in your little thought bubble over there. Why don't you share some of those with us? What are you thinking right now?
Well, you were talking about the phrase that my daughter is very much into. So I was thinking about that. Yeah, and then I was thinking about the superhero. You were just saying about how superhero stuff has gotten so stale, and like, it is difficult, as you were saying, Brian, because there is, it's kind of a limited, like, there's only so much you can do in that genre, but at the same time, like, when you have limits, that really is the biggest opportunity for creativity. I mean, if you can just do whatever you want, a lot of times that really kills creativity. But if you have a limit to say, this has been done, so you've got to figure out something different. Zombieful World of Oz is a good example where you've taken two recognizable genres and then like mash them together and created something completely new, and I think with the comic book stuff, honestly, I haven't really read a whole lot of new comic books. Like right now I'm working through Saga. I've got the collected volumes and that kind of
which
thing.
is coming back.
Yes,
finally.
I heard that.
Finally. So
I'm
yeah,
very
get
excited about
caught
that.
up.
Yeah. So and I'm the same with you guys. Like I was collecting, every week, but I did the same thing. I would come home with a stack and only read some of them. Yeah. And so now I found myself like, well, I need to read some of these. So I've kind of stopped buying recently, and I've done more Kickstarter, type thing. Anyways, all that to say, I remember the last superhero book I started reading was Crossover. Was it what's it called? Crossover?
Oh,
I
there
can't
is a
even.
Yeah,
crossover book by
crossover. Yeah.
Image.
Image.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was super impressed at first, and then it just kind of died off for me. But at first, like, it was just such a unique idea of these superheroes crossing over into the real world. And I was like, that this is exactly what we need, is superhero stories reimagined, or just that whole genre flipped on its head in some way, which I think is the power of indie comics, is that you're able to do more creative things than the corporate mindset will let you do. They have a very particular formula, and the reason why is because statistically they know these things sell. And at the end of the day, as much as I've heard online and social media people complain about Marvel and DC, my answer is always the same: if you don't like it, don't buy it. If you don't buy it, then they'll stop doing it. But the fact is, everyone keeps buying this stuff, so they're going to continue to do it. So
I think it's just Brian K. Morris buying DC, no one else.
That's what it is. That's exactly it.
He's single-handedly keeping it in business.
Yes.
Speaking of Brian K. Morris, he has a couple words of wisdom. He says, "My office is filled with geek stuff too. However, I work from home."
Nice,
So, and then, oh gosh, he gives Chad credit. Chad makes a good point. Look at the amazing work that was made during the days of the Comics Code Authority by Kirby, Lee, Thomas, Windsor Smith, etc. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
And plus, being indie creators, I mean, we have no bosses other than ourselves.
Yeah,
exactly.
No one's holding us back if we want to do something crazy and outlandish, and they think it's too risky. We just do it.
Yeah,
sure.
Absolutely. There was another comic book that came out relatively recent, within the last year. It was and now I can't think of it. Of course, it's like dang it! I wish I knew it, but I bought it. It was from Image, and it was like the Black Light or Lightning or something like that. I can't think of what it was, but
Blue Flame.
No, it was like a character that was. I can't even think about it. Either way, I bought the first one, and I just remember reading it and thinking, this has been done so many times. Like, it was so predictable. And I was like, come on. Like, that's the beauty and that's the strength that we have as indie creators, is that we can do things that no one has ever done before. So that's why, all that to say, Eric, like, I'm really excited to see what you put out on the superhero side of things, because there is such an opportunity to put out new stuff in that.
Oh, my first one's a straight up Moon Knight ripoff.
That's okay. I take back everything I just said.
but it has to do with prostitutes and stuff, and
superhero prostitutes. Awesome.
Oh, I have seen that. Sex trafficking. Sex trafficking from Egypt throughout the rest of the world. Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting.
There is one called The Pro, a comic book, The Pro, about a hooker superhero, and there's a little cartoon about it too.
Oh,
and it's by a really famous writer, and I can't remember who it was. I mean, really famous.
Warren Ellis.
I can't remember. Yeah.
Is that the only author that you could think of? Warren Ellis.
That's all I got right now.
It might. It might be.
What was it? I'm thinking like stuff that he would. I mean, someone that would have done that. Like I'm thinking him. What? Neil Gaiman?
No, not Neil Gaiman. No, it's too trashy for him.
Yeah, I was gonna say it is a little much. While we're looking.
Garth Ennis, Amanda Connor, and Jimmy Palmiotti.
Oh, hey, Chad? Was it Radiant Black? Damien.
That's what I was just looking it up. Yes, Radiant Black,
right.
And yes, that's exactly it.
There we go. The Pro was by Garth. Yep.
Well, of course, Brian would know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he's a human. He's a walking, talking comic book encyclopedia.
An Image title I would recommend is fairly recent. Just ended, I think. It's Geiger.
Oh,
I've heard of that.
Very good.
It was really good. It was really good, and it didn't seem too tropey.
And that was the guy from DC wrote that, didn't he? The guy that was,
Jeff Johns.
Yeah, Jeff Johns.
Jeff Johns.
Yeah, Jeff Johns wrote it. Which I have my Brian. He says, "Damn right, I would." Jeff Johns I have a beef with when it comes to movies, but he's a genius when it comes to comics.
That's what I've heard.
But Jeff Johns is one of the few people to actually make me cry at a comic book whilst reading.
Okay.
And it was.
I thought he hit you.
No, if he hit me, I'd destroy him and then have an asthma attack.
Nice.
But no, he'd probably beat me up. No, he his 82-page rebirth. When the moment when Wally West is, the moment when Barry remembers who Wally West is, I lost it. I kind of ugly cried at that part. I think it just hit me. It was really beautiful. Damien says Radiant Black looks good, but it's a Power Rangers ripoff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, which Power Rangers is really good in the comics. That's
what I've heard.
They took the cheesy, dumb kids show and actually made it into something really cool. Especially if you like kaiju and mech stuff. It's a lot of fun. So Eric, if you were able, this I'll say this last question, and then Chad, I'll let you have the last question. If you were able to work with anybody you wanted to in the indie circle, who would it be and why?
That's a very good question, because I know a lot of the indie artists, a whole ton of them. Oh, shoot.
You don't have to think too hard. I'm right here.
No, actually, no. But there's so many of them that have been pros and are now indie.
Right.
Yeah. But actually, for one of the books I have in mind that I want to do, I think you could probably write it better than I would.
Oh goodness.
That's the Hounds of God.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Two werewolf priests that hunt
supernatural
creatures.
That. Yeah, we talked about that. That's fun. Oh, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah,
that sounds amazing.
Cool. So, other than Present Company, Present Company excluded, then who else would you?
I think Brian Shearer.
Oh, okay.
I think he'd be fun to work with. He still does work with Transformers and G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
But he's done so much other stuff. And he's doing a Gunship Thunder Punch now, which he's crowdfunded, and it's really good. I like it. And his personality, he does a show all the time. Is fun. So I think he'd be a fun guy to work with.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Brian says, Eric's already working with me, so dream realized. They also said we stand on the shoulders of titans when we rip off their IPs. As long as you can do it without getting sued, go for it. So Chad, what do you have for our profound last question?
Here is my profound last question. What would you say is your weakest aspect as an artist, and how are you addressing it?
Two. Well, it's animals. In particular, horses and dragons. So it used to be anytime anyone asked me to draw a horse for them or a dragon as a commission, nope, can't do it.
Yeah.
So I will take the time to study dragons and horses to draw them for people now. I do a weekly drawing competition of sorts on YouTube. It's a drawn and quartered fan edition where there's 4 to 8 of us drawing a subject every week. And if the subject has started out when we did this 2 years ago, if there's a dragon or a horse in it, I was avoiding it like the plague. Now, if that subject has a dragon as off character or a horse, I will try to bring them in and work on those. I try to work on them as much as possible, but even though I don't have any dragons or horses in my comic book.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are you
but animals are tough.
Are you allowed to use reference on that show?
We can look at reference. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Can't trace, but I can look at reference.
Nice.
Oh, here we go. Some encouragement. It says Eric. Brian K. Morris says, Eric, you've made many strides in your creative output in just the time I've known you, and now you're an in-demand artist. Given that, what are you having for lunch tomorrow? So Brian just snatched that last question from Chad.
Would you like to see something from the first book Brian and I worked on together? I have not showed anyone. I usually refuse to show this kind of stuff.
Yes.
This show you how bad it was in the beginning. Comic book projects. Uh-oh, did I get rid of it? Oh wait,
Oh, no.
It's under completed comic book projects. There we go.
You know what? While you're looking at that, I get the last question. And so I'm going to ask you, Eric, which artist would you like to meet that you haven't met yet?
Oh, wow.
Like professional artist.
Shoot. Mike Zeck. I would really like to meet Mike Zeck. He had some great G.I. Joe covers, but he did Kraven's Last Hunt. I love that book, and everything I've seen him do, Captain America covers, all that. I just like his style. It's clean and just looks beautiful. Yeah, I would Mike Zeck for sure.
What would you ask him?
I probably wouldn't ask him anything. I'd just tell him how much I admire him.
Nice.
He just fangirl the whole time.
I would just
fangirl
the entire
when you were
time.
describing like being there with Jim Lee and Mark Silvestri, I would have fangirled. I wouldn't even know what to say. I would have just been like,
I will say I probably did fangirl really, really hard.
yeah, I would have been an idiot.
Yeah. Now Chris Claremont told me I suck, so. But he was having a bad day because someone had just brought an entire short box full of comics for him to sign. At a free signing. I just wanted to sign a couple comics and look at my art.
Yeah.
Okay, this is going to be embarrassing. This is the first page of Nature Boy. Share screen. That one.
Here we go.
There it is.
It's horrible.
Hold on. Let's get that.
So what you say it's horrible. What would you change about it?
Oh, I mean, look at the shoulder right here. That's all jacked up. What's going on there? I think the head should be a little longer here. Let me zoom in a little bit. Just whoa, really
too much.
Yeah. So my cross hatching, I didn't know what I was doing. This I tried to draw at an angle and just looks like he's deformed. I mean, he looks like some kind of flying male mermaid.
I mean, look, I got to tell you, like, obviously, I mean,
this eye over here. It's good grief. I'm stopped sharing. This is horrible. I'm getting nightmares now.
Well, no, hold on. So, like, I've read Zombieful World of Oz, and from issue 1, Brian K. Morris is right. From issue 1 to issue 3, leaps and bounds and improvement. And issue 1 is good. That was not as good as issue 1 of Zombieful World of Oz, but that wasn't bad either.
Honestly, it's drawing every day.
Yeah, I mean,
you really have to. It develops. You got the muscle memory developing. Plus, you get better and better. And if I skip a couple days or if I go on vacation a week, I lose about 10 steps, not just a step.
Don't
try to catch back up.
Yeah. Oh, and all right. Let's see. Damien says Claremont was not so nice to him when he met him too. Maybe he's just a grumpy man.
But anytime everybody says he's so great, and I was like, man, he was a jerk to me.
The Nature Boy story was saved only by the cheesiness of the scripting. Total cheddar, I tell you.
It was cheesy.
And Jody says we are our own worst critics, and that is true.
That's true.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I honestly, when I draw something, I rarely think it looks great. I think it looks good most of the time. But if I think it looks great, I wonder what it really looks like to other people. I mean, to me, it might look great in someone else's head. I'm pretty sure they think it's a stick figure. That's what goes through my mind all the time. Delusions of grandeur.
Indeed. Eric, thank you so much for being on the show, man.
You're very welcome. This was
were
awesome.
our first interview of season 4, our first interview on the Rising Tide Network. It was a wonderful time. Thank you so much.
Wasn't Brian the first interview?
No, he wasn't an interview. We've talked to him enough. No.
Cool. Yeah, take that.
Brian's been interviewed a couple times on the Dingoes. Brian we were talking topical stuff. It was more we'll have you back on for topical show. We'll actually have you back on here in a couple weeks when we do the crossover for with Comic Book Spectrum. It's gonna be a blast. End of October, guys. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But until then, Eric, I'm gonna give you the full screen and tell us where we can find your stuff and why we should love your work.
Because I'm very passionate about my work. I love working on the Zombieful World of Oz. It's inside my blood. I love writing it. I love drawing it. It's just great. Look at that pretty little Dorothy killing
so
a little
good.
blue-haired munchkin. But you can find me at Twitter, _Hawkins. But I'm also on Facebook and under a multitude of pages. Eric Hawkins, Eric S. Hawkins, Stone Door Studios, or the Zombieful World of Oz. All those have pages out there. You can go. I populate them occasionally. I am also on Instagram, ehawkins1971, which I don't use that often. It's been hard for me to ever get followers out there, so I'll do it for a little bit, then I stop, then I'll do it for a little bit and stop. But you can also find me on, if you want to look at the older projects, go out to Kickstarter, look up Zombieful World of Oz. They will show up, all 3 of them, but 4 coming soon. 4 Matters of the Heart. And Indiegogo, I'm still on Indiegogo. Go out there. Best thing about Indiegogo is once you fund, you have a in-demand store that stays open. So I didn't even open a campaign for issue 3. I just changed the in-demand store from issue 2 over to stuff from issue 3, and you can get 1, 2, and 3 out there all together. And I think that's it.
All right.
Or you can also find me on Thursday nights with Comic Book Spectrum.
Yes, very important. All right, Eric, I am going to put you backstage. All right, but hang out. We'll talk to you afterwards in the after party. All right. Hello, everyone. How are you? Let's get Chad in here too. All right. Thank you, Eric, once again for being on the show. It was a great time. Awesome. Next week, folks, we are going to have yet another Comic Book Spectrum alum. It'll be Clyde Hall. We're going to talk about him, talk about his character B-Man, and just his passion for telling stories, and his passion for libraries. I think that's absolutely a wonderful topic to dive into. So, Chad, any closing thoughts before we wrap things up from the wisdom of Chad's Corner, as I'm going to call it from now on?
It's no pressure. I have to come up with something profound. Yes, I have one.
All right.
I have one. I was actually thinking about this when I was at the comic book. What am I trying to say? Louisville Con. And so someone had asked me to sign their book, and they asked me to put a little note in there, and it was weird because I didn't really know the person, so I'm like trying to think of something profound to say. And the one thing I always go back to is, and you've heard this before, so it's a bit overdone, but I really believe it. You know, people always say, "Oh, you're going to be the next Jim Lee, or you'll be the next Walt Disney, or whatever," but you really need to strive to be the first Chad Nuss or the first Brian Rodman. So that's my word to leave, to spend your energy trying to be the first of a kind instead of the next. So.
That is wonderful advice. And really quick, Chad, where can we find all of your work?
Well, I am the creator and author and artist of The Silence, and you can find me on thesilencecomics.com or thesilencearts.com, which is more of my general art website where you can look at other things other than comic book work. But that's the 2 main places, and then of course on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
All right. And folks, I am Brian Rodman. I am the author and illustrator of Memoirs of an Angel. It is a horror fantasy comic book series. Right now, we have 7 issues out. There's issue 7. It's pretty. Issue 8 is on Kickstarter right now through Halloween. Through Halloween night. Head over there to this link. We've got a ton of catch-up. We got 2 catch-up tiers, digital, physical. We got a lot of cool rewards. A little shout out to Damien, who's in the comments tonight. O Toys made us 10 figures of Moriel from the series. 5 of them have been claimed. 5 are left. Go claim them. It's going to be really fun. It's going to be awesome. I'm excited to partner with them in the future as well. But yeah, I'm also on Comic Book Spectrum. That will be airing on Rising Tide Network this Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with the Eric Hawkins, who you saw tonight, Brian K. Morris, and Clyde Hall, as we join us as we review the weekly reads of comics and discuss nerd stuff, because that's what we do best. And as always, folks, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for showing up in the comments and chatting us up. please continue to do so. We will always address your comments. We'll always address your questions for our guests as well. Like and share this video, and as well as hit that bell so you can be notified for future, or whenever we air an episode, whenever I get these words out of my mouth. But thank you guys once more, and we will see you next week when we are live with Clyde Hall. So you guys have a fantastic night. Stay safe, wash your hands, and don't apologize for being awesome. That was for you, Brian K. Morris. You guys have a fantastic night. Thank you so much for being here.